met at a Valentine's Day dance at my college, Scripps College for Women in Claremont in 1928. And Roger was the date of one of my classmates who was quite tall. And her brother was my date. And in those old quaint days, we exchanged dances and had dance programs. And so, of course, we traded dances. And we discovered that we had a mutual friend, Dan, at the Naval Academy. And so for a while I thought Roger was just calling me up to see if I'd heard from Dan. And finally he said, I don't really give a damn about Dan. It's you I want to see. And I was very pleased because I found him interesting and enjoyed going out with him. And he stayed on his, 1 year after he graduated, he was a junior, and he stayed on and worked in the geology department during my junior year, which was lovely, and then went to Berkeley the next year, which was difficult because one didn't make phone calls all the time the way one does now, and he wasn't much of a letter writer. I just was very impressed with going out with a man who talked to me about opera. That was quite different. I know they were big enough so that I always encouraged him to take a spare pair when we traveled, because I could pack one pair of mine in his, one in each. It was nice. It was his first job after college at the princely sum of $100 a month, and it was our first experience of setting up home in a little cottage on the Scripps Institution campus, which was very remote from town and was known to the La Jollans as the bug house. And we were considered kind of strange creatures out there in the bug house. But it was a very close-knit community of 5 grad students, 4 of whom were married, and a very small faculty. So we established lifelong friends living there. And it was always very dear to both of us. And Roger was quite excited. One day he went out on a day trip and came back and he said, I'm not going to want to leave here in a year. It was supposed to be just a year appointment. He said, I can be a geologist and still go to sea. And even though he had had to be cook on that one day at sea, he just loved it. And being able to, for one thing, as a geologist, he had a fear of heights. So it was much better to be on a ship than on a mountain. His finally managing to convince the regents of the University of California to establish the campus, full-fledged campus here in La Jolla. It was a big fight, and he finally won. He was very distressed at the anti-Semitic gentleman's agreement that was in La Jolla that prevented Jews from not only buying but not even renting here in La Jolla. And Roger was aware that to have a really good university, you had to have all types, and kept telling La Jollans that. And finally, it was this stupid thing was abolished, taken away. And he was very pleased with that. And Roger, when he went to Harvard, started a whole new career. He was there as head of a new Center for Population Study, which seemed a strange thing to have an oceanographer, but it got him started in working in India and in Pakistan and India. And that's where he really became interested in the worldwide problems. Roger always said that one really should love one's work and really have it be bigger than one, to lose oneself in it. And I hope present-day men and women, young scientists, can do the same. One very important part of his legacy that's often not mentioned at all is his wonderful family. We have 4 children, we had 12 grandchildren, and 18 great-grandchildren so far. And of course, for some of them, I haven't stopped to count how many were born after he died, so to them he'll just be a legend. But I'm hoping that those who are living in especially those who are here today with us, will be inspired by what they've learned about him today, and will be encouraged to have very fulfilling, fruitful lives themselves.